pop culture is referenced in the Bible code, and it seems like God's a fan of Lady Gaga, Mel Gibson, maybe not so much of Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, I don't know. But there's a lot of stuff in the Torah codes and even things from popular culture. And someone might ask, why is there stuff from popular culture? What does that have to do with prophecy and religious stuff and our Lord and everything? But I think one of the things it does is provide evidence to people who might not necessarily be into all those kind of stuff. It provides evidence of God to people who might not be into prophecy or the Bible, because people, popular culture is a very mainstream thing that appeals to a lot of people. So, yeah, so I think it provides an opportunity to for so many more people to believe in God if they look at this.
Yeah, and some of these things you wouldn't expect. Like, for example, there's an old handheld video game called Pokemon,
Yeah,
and apparently this is also found referenced in the Bible code.
yeah. And Pokemon is it's a Japanese game, a huge franchise started in the mid 90s somewhere, and people my age played it when they were a kid, and they traded these monsters and raised them and battled them.
Yeah, Pokemon stands for Pocket Monsters, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's probably one of the biggest franchises in the world with trading card games and plushies and all kinds of stuff. So it kind of makes sense that it's so well known that it would appear in the Torah codes. So we got one here, and I believe this was the only in that was exclusively the Torah. And the main search term is Pokemon, of course, and it extends to caretaker or servant Pokemon AAA patriarchs. So AAA. AAA is a term in the video game industry that means like the high budget games, basically. The
Like top of the line, best game out there kind of a
yeah,
thing.
yeah, exactly. Like the Rolls Royce of video games, kind of. um, and you got a lot of secondary terms here that are related to the game itself and what you do in the game. First thing that stands out there is catchword or phrase, and well, that makes me think of what's it? You got to catch them all.
Yeah, and right there into catchword is choice or selection.
Yeah, and that's another popular phrase. It's "I choose you."
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah. Oh
yeah,
my goodness. I didn't even think of that.
yeah. So I thought that was interesting. It's all about choosing which Pokemon to make up your team with, and how to battle with them.
And it says nations right there next to that. And that phrase in itself probably spanned across nations.
Yeah, and it's popular all over the world, all nations. It's popular in, and there's even kind of nations within the game itself called regions, which are different, have different types of Pokemon and cities and stuff.
What does the word diarist mean?
I was thinking, because it's a six-letter word, so it's probably something significant, and it crosses, which is it there? Skilled.
It's just not a word I'm familiar with in the English language.
Yeah, it's like someone who keeps a diary or journal.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah,
Looking at the root word there.
and it crosses adept, skilled, and crosses right through Pokemon. So what I thought is that it's probably a reference to the Pokédex in the Pokemon universe, which is kind of the journal you have, which of all the Pokemon that you've seen or caught, and your main task basically in the game is to fill it up with all the Pokemon.
That's the main, like you should say, like maybe the main quest. so to
Yeah.
speak.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's crazy that it's outlined there in the code.
Yeah, I
This
know.
isn't anything we put in here. Like, this is stuff that we're finding just
Yeah.
naturally occurring right very close proximity to the search term.
Yeah. I did find this code in, was it 2013 or 2014? It's an old code.
And they have that word animating, and this became a very popular animated series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my favorites from my childhood.
Actually, I enjoyed the animated series a lot more than the game when I was a child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too. It all became so much more immersive when there's so much of it
Oh, yeah,
in
'cause
other
you-
entertainment.
Yeah, you pretend like you're Ash Ketchum and whatever.
Yeah. That's cool. Also, I didn't realize that until many, many years after that. His name is Ketchum. Like
Catch 'em
catch.
all.
Yeah, like catch 'em all.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Destined to be a Pokemon master.
yeah. There's also superlative supreme, and it's Elion. Is it another word for another name of God? And I put it in there because, because a superlative is what do you call it? The most extreme form of the adjective. Like, so what I thought in this case was best. I want to be the very best.
Oh, like no one ever was.
Yeah, the supreme.
Can we just sing? We're just gonna play that song at the end of this episode. I
Yeah,
hope we don't
sure.
get copyrighted for it, but now I'm just feeling nostalgic.
It's a great song. And there's to cause someone to flee, a word for that, and that is one of the like 4 options you have when you encounter a Pokemon. You can always flee. And then, interestingly enough, there was MHAR also in the code there, which is our prophet Michael Har. And I did ask him about it, and he did say that he did play Pokemon when it first came out, the original versions, red, blue, and yellow. Yeah.
That's really impressive. So, of course, Pokemon. You would think, oh well, yeah, okay, one game is there in the Bible code, but it's not the only game that we've seen in the Bible code.
Yeah, exactly.
There's this other really popular game out there.
Yeah. Called World of Warcraft.
Yeah, World of Warcraft.
Which started off with just Warcraft, Orcs and Humans, which was a strategy game you saw from the top down, and you like directed these different types of units to attack each other and destroy buildings and stuff like that, and eventually became a massive multiplayer online role-playing game, as it's called, an MMORPG, and it was probably the first one that saw huge mainstream success, I would say.
Yeah, the very first, like, that had like over 10 million players peak at one point.
Yeah.
This is before massive online player bases were even commonplace.
Yeah. There were other online games like that before, like Ultima Online and
Star Wars Galaxies,
what's that one called?
EverQuest.
Yeah, the one that Patrick plays. That is.
I don't know.
Oh, never mind. But yeah.
Got great reviews.
Yeah,
from all
it
these
was
gamer magazines.
very well received when it came out, and it was revolutionary in a lot of ways that it handled itself and worked. So if you look at the code, there is actually only one code for Warcraft, and there's a 6-letter word there or it's actually a 7-letter word, I think, for artillery gunnery, which is very much what it's all about. Catapults and stuff, and you shoot your enemies and use spells against them and stuff. And beginning Inception was the beginning of a franchise, Warcraft itself there. Get interface. And rescue, retrieve, salvage, save. It's I think it could be a reference to the nature of most of the quests in World of Warcraft.
Uh-huh. Well, I'm seeing here these words that are bunched up together.
Mm-hmm.
Crowds,
Yeah.
complemented, and interface. That many people they praised this the way that the game was put together, the interface itself, the
Yeah.
appearance of it.
The UI, the user
Yeah.
interface.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and the simplicity and easy to use. Yeah.
And it really was the start of a trend. It saved a franchise basically.
Yeah.
It saved an entire company.
Yeah.
Blizzard itself was going under. They weren't expecting to do well in the next quarter, but
Yeah.
you see here that it does say to rescue, retrieve, salvage, or save.
Yeah. And suddenly they have like what, $1 billion in revenue every month from the membership fees. From 10 million players. No, like 100 million maybe. That would be 10 million players paying $10 a month to play.
So World of Warcraft, of course, we're talking about games, but this goes in other places too, in popular culture.
Yeah.
Earlier, you were telling me about a movie series, also a book series called Harry Potter being in the code.
Yeah. And this is a code that Richard discovered.
Oh, and it looks like Petri just chimed in. He's telling us that RuneScape was the game.
Oh yeah, RuneScape.
Yeah.
Thanks, Petri.
He managed to tell us on both platforms, YouTube and Twitch, just to make sure we got the message.
Perfect.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, Petri. Yeah, so this is Harry Potter. And that became very popular. A lot of people, the very conservative Christians were saying that it was like demonic and it was demon worshipping and stuff like that. Which may be a reference to the word there, this worshipful. But it's also honorable, upstanding.
There's a lot of interesting moral messages from the author J.K. Rowling towards the audience.
Yeah.
The heroes were heroes. They weren't anti-heroes like what you see today in pop culture.
Yeah, it seems very children-friendly to me and kind of wholesome in a way. Harry Potter was so poorly treated by his family to begin with, and then he rose to become this great magician.
Then really an upstanding member of his society, somebody who was worthy of praise.
Yeah, I didn't watch all the movies to be completely honest here.
Well, he was a good guy. He wasn't a bad guy.
Yeah, of course, yeah. There's the word spell there for, they were wizards doing spells and stuff. And yeah, interesting stuff. And there was also, as I mentioned, the author for Harry Potter was J.K. Rowling. And there was a couple of quotes on her as well that Richard found. This is one of them that I found the most interesting. There are some words that I'm not sure how they might be related. You got like gauze, organdy with some sort of type of cloth, I think, fabric, and breeding. But one thing that I found interesting was the word queer there, and polemical, meaning like controversy. Because she did make a controversy once, but she claimed that I think it was the character Dumbledore was gay, but it doesn't come across like that. There's no mention of it in the books that he was gay. And I think her reaction was like, well, there's no mention of anyone being straight either, so what does it really matter? It doesn't have any impact on the story whether he's gay or not. But she just came out and said that after she published the book that he was gay, And I thought that's kind of a good lesson to people, that it doesn't really matter what your sexuality is. It's not that important that it has to be mentioned in a book, if it doesn't have anything to do with the story. See what I mean? Because now
Yeah, I mean, I hadn't.
nowadays people are so fixated with it. You know, the pride parades and everything. It's like the whole world revolves around it.
Does it really change anything about the character itself? What they're